What's up with y'all, man? It's Nosley 27 in the building, bro. Here I am with the NFL Sunday recap of the afternoon games, bro. Without further ado, man, let's get right to it. It was a lot of great games. This is 1 o'clock slate, bro, but first we're going to talk about is Pittsburgh beating Bengals in OT. And highlight player of the game was Minka Fitzpatrick. He had a great game this game, bro. He got himself a pick six, which was one of the six turnovers that the Bengals had. To what Joe Burrow threw 4 interceptions. He also fumbled the ball too. And shoot, still the defense was really great this game, bro. And then Joe Burrow came back, got 2 touchdowns, and Minka Fitzpatrick actually blocked the extra point to send to overtime to where even though the kickers was missing like crazy in overtime, Chris Boswell ended up sending one in for the Steelers to win the game, which is great for the Steelers. But Joe Burrow, that was Joe Shiesty, bro. That was a bad game, bro. You got to wear this hat for this loss. You almost came back, but that was a bad game for you, though. Still, defense, give them credit, bro. I mean, a lot of credit, because that was a great game for the Steelers defense. So next game is going to be the Saints versus Falcons, and Atlanta doing Atlanta things, bro. So Atlanta, they had 27-7 lead in the fourth quarter, but they ended up blowing that lead. And Marcus Mariota actually had a really good game too, by the way. And Cordell Patterson, he had a good game too. He had 120 rushing yards and 1 touchdown. But the Saints and Jameis Winston ended up coming back. The defense showing why they're that team to like look out for in the NFC. Jameis Winston had a good game. Jarvis Landry had a great game too. First game with the Saints, he had 117 receiving yards. Then in 2013, Michael Thomas, after a year of like being out with that hamstring injury, bro, came back. Ended up having 5 catches for 57 yards and 2 touchdowns. And it was basically the Saints scored 17 unanswered points in the fourth quarter, and then to cap it all off, the Saints ended up blocking a potential game-winning field goal to actually end the game and win 27-26. Atlanta, bro, it's gonna be a rough year for y'all, but y'all ain't need to land your way out of a window like that. Like, that's crazy to me. So next game is gonna be Browns versus Panthers, and back in Mayfield, he looking for revenge on his former team, the Cleveland Browns. And honestly, for most of the first half, Baker Mayfield struggled. For most of it, till about around the 2-minute warning time, was when they actually picked up some steam, and then they were able to get the first touchdown of the game with Christian McCaffrey, CMC, with a 1-yard touchdown. But then of course, like for most of the game, the Browns were like just running the ball with Chubb and Kareem Hunt, with Kareem Hunt having 2 touchdowns, one passing and 1 rushing touchdown. It was just Jacoby Brissett just making sure he just dink and dunk his way to the victory, really. And hopefully the defense just pick up the slack and actually hold off Baker Mayfield. But Baker Mayfield ended up making it in the game. He actually at one point took the lead with a 75-yard passing touchdown to Robbie Anderson, and also a field goal with like 1:13 left on the clock. Then Kerry York ended up spoiling the game for Baker Mayfield with a 58-yard field goal. I kind of felt bad for Baker for like not getting revenge, but hey, that's how it is, man. Them kickers that have a leg on them now, bro. No homo, but hey, Browns did that thing. They won the game. Baker Mayfield, you hang your head high, bro, knowing that you took your former team to the limit, but you gotta take that L, man. All right, man, so now let's go to one of the 2 upsets of Sunday afternoon. That was the Bears upsetting the 49ers. So yesterday's game, bro, it was like raining all game long, bro. It was raining to the point where like it was just had a whole bunch of puddles, bro. So like them throwing the ball was bound to be like not that good, honestly. With that being said, Justin Fields had himself 2 touchdowns, with one of the touchdowns being a really great play. Yeah, it was basically him scrambling for his life like he was basically the whole entire game. But this time, though, he scrambled for his life, but actually found Dante Pettis on the right side of the field. Ended up hitting him for a 51-yard touchdown pass, which was definitely the highlight of the game. Then, of course, he threw another touchdown pass to Equanimous St. Brown for a touchdown. And then, of course, Khalil Herbert and then a 3-yard touchdown. Point was, Justin Fields made the plays that he needed to make, and Trey Lance didn't. To which I'm not too like worried about Trey Lance, because that was a raining game, bro. Like for real. But he needed to step up though to be that guy that Kyle Shanahan drafted in the 3rd overall pick. So, but Congrats to the Chicago Bears, though, man, pulling out the win. And I ain't gonna lie, this whole video right here is actually a cold ass way to actually celebrate victory. All right, so let's just go to the second upset game, and that would be the Giants upsetting the Tennessee Titans. So now, when it comes to the Giants, it was basically the return of the Saquon Barkley game, bro. That's really what it was at the end of the day. Now get this stat, bro. This was the first game where Saquon Barkley had over 100 yards and 1 touchdown in the same game since Week 16 of 2019, which was basically about 3 years ago, bro. So that is a crazy stat right there. And Saquon had himself a great game. He actually lead the league in rushing yards as of today, before the Monday night game. So great props to Saquon Barkley. Daniel Jones didn't throw the ball that much. He had 21 attempts, but he was efficient, which is what you would want for Daniel Jones. Oh yeah, and shout out to the Giants defense for holding Derrick Henry to 21 carries for 82 yards. He basically didn't let Derrick Henry beat them. Taylor had 2 touchdowns, but he was still all right though for him to play. The point is though, like, the Giants did what they need to do to win the game. And Brian Dable, that was a big call to go for 2 to win the game, which Saquon Barkley ended up scoring that 2-point conversion for him. So props to the Giants for the upset victory. To the AFC West matchup, where the Chargers end up holding on to beat the Las Vegas Raiders, man. And what can you say about that Chargers defense, bro? That Chargers defense was absolutely nuts yesterday, bro. Especially that front 7, bro. Like, in the back 7 too. They ended up forcing Derek Carr to throw 3 interceptions, and also had front 7 had 6 sacks last game. And plus, Khalil Mack, who made his debut, had half of those sacks with 3 sacks. To which he also had basically the game-sealing sack to basically effectively end the game, where you end up having a forced fumble to force down in the last few minutes of the game, bro. Like, that was great. That was probably his best game since Khalil Mack debuted with the Chicago Bears back in 2018. And then also some other stuff. Justin Herbert had 3 touchdowns. This game should have been more of a blowout had they just converted more, but props to the Raiders defense for holding on. But props to the Chargers defense for making sure the Raiders didn't go off. I mean, Devontae Adams had such a vintage game in his debut, but just props to the Chargers for overcoming that, and hopefully they play good against the Mahomes-led Chiefs. And speaking of the Kansas City Chiefs, they basically dominated the whole entire game against the Arizona Cardinals, bro. Mahomes out here putting up mad numbers like he usually do every other game, with 5 touchdowns, bro, over 350 yards. He was just basically amazing, especially if we're spreading the ball. Yeah, Travis Kelce had that great stat line, but he was basically spreading the ball the whole time, and that's a scary sight to see, honestly. Let's see, but props to the Kansas City Chiefs defense for holding off against the Arizona Cardinals, because Cardinals actually a great offense themselves. So hopefully the Cardinals bounce back though, and they're gonna miss DeAndre Hopkins really, really badly though. So props to them. Then let's go to one of the marquee matchups, which ended up being just most of that domination game between the Vikings and the Packers. And Justin Jefferson is that guy, bro. He's him. He got that dog in him, bro. Justin Jefferson had 9 catches for 184 yards, which is a new career high for him for yards, and 2 touchdowns. He was just making catches left and right, bro. Like, he was that good. He's gonna have a great season under the new offensive regime, bro. And of course, Kirk Cousins plays well, which Justin Jefferson played well too. Then the Vikings defense played really well too. Now, granted, I'll give him that Aaron Rodgers, even though he didn't play that well, which is again second year in a row, didn't play well in week 1, but Aaron Rodgers just need to get time with the young receivers and see how he goes with them. But it's still a very encouraging win for the Vikings though, because that's the win they needed, especially if that one win against the rival of the Packers. And of course, in week 1 fashion, we got our first tie of the season already, bro, between the Houston Texans and the Indianapolis Colts. And Davis Mills played good for majority of the first half of the game. And of course, he tailed off a little bit. They actually had a lead at one point in the second half, but the Colts ended up coming back, which was basically the Jonathan Taylor show throughout the whole game, because the Colts wide receivers weren't really getting that much open. Only Michael Pittman was actually really that good, but it came down to the wire, and none of the teams could even mess up a point in the overtime. So it it was still like a close game, but it was just one. It still seemed like a forgettable game. But playing now in the AFC South, basically no team basically won in the AFC South, which any team has the chance to be first place. Which I'll talk about the Jags later on. Later on, so. Now the Eagles outlasted the Lions, and what can I say? The Eagles just going back to their bread and butter, bro. Just run the ball down to people's throats, bro. No homo. But hey, they're running the ball over the Lions, especially in that first half, bro. The whole team finished with 216 rushing yards, with Hurts having 90 rushing yards himself. Man, and they actually had a big lead at 1.2 until Dan Campbell fashion. They ended up like making it a game. It cut down to as low as 3 points, and then the Eagles pulled away with the victory, basically. Scored another touchdown. Now, when it came to Jalen Hurts throwing, it was pretty good. I mean, he was able to throw the ball to A.J. Brown, who made his debut, who also had 10 catches of 155 yards, which is a really good game for A.J. Brown. Which Jalen Hurts needed that number one receiver, honestly. Devontae Smith is really good, but A.J. Brown was really great, though, so he needed that. And just a great win for the Eagles, what they need, and the Lions. Just hopefully they're going to pull up a win, bro. I'm actually rooting for the Lions. The final game I'm going to talk about from this wild Sunday that was noteworthy was the Jaguars versus the Commanders. And what can I say about the Commanders? Carson Wentz actually threw for 4 touchdowns. He threw for 2 interceptions too, but basically the offense was basically clean for the whole game. The defensive line from the Jaguars wasn't getting that much pressure, even though they kind of was, but they were more like clean than what the Jaguars O-line was. And Trevor Lawrence, he had himself a pretty good game. Wasn't the best game, but it was better than most of the games he had last year for sure. It was better than most of the games. Like Jags offense was actually moving the ball in Washington. And then, of course, Trayvon Walker, shout out to him for his debut game. He had himself a sack and an insane interception from a screen pass, bro. Like, come on now. Also, shout out to the Jahan Dotson and Forrest. Jahan Dotson, the rookie receiver, had himself 2 touchdowns. Then Forrest, the safety, he actually had himself the game-sealing interception to basically just win the game for him. And even though the Jags basically beat themselves with a lot of penalties, and especially that one penalty with the neutral zone fraction basically ended in the game for the Jags. It was still encouraging to see the Jags actually fight to the end, bro, and basically had a chance to win the game. All in all, bro, it was a wild week 1, bro. Like, shout out to the Ravens and the Miami Dolphins for winning their games. I ain't talking about them, but shout out to them, especially Lamar Jackson having himself a 3-touchdown game, and Jalen Waddle having that one great touchdown in the 4th down for halftime. But that being said, man, this is y'all Sunday afternoon recap, bro. There's Nazi27 in the building. He's about to check out, man. Like, comment, subscribe to the video, and I'll catch you guys in the next video, bro.